Hello everyone and welcome to this fly tying video. Today we're going to tie the Molten Core, a modern wet fly that uses some, I think, new techniques, or at least for the body. So to start this off, what I have in the vise is the Hends BL 554. This is this pupa grub hook with a continuous bend and also this inwards pointing hook, which is really great, or I like them. This one I tie in a size 12, but you could also tie this in size 10 or 14. The thread I'm using is the Uni 8/0 in fire orange. So what I'll do is to start the thread about an eye length behind the eye and just put down a few wraps of thread, and then I'm going to take some small copper wire, and here you want to have enough room to do all the tying, so I've taken about 20-25 centimeters, and this can then be used for multiple flies. You could also have your wire on a spool and a bobbin holder. Here I'm going to tie this in right on top of the fly and trying to keep it as centered as possible. So I'm going just to do touching turns, taking this down a little bit down the body, and here you have a choice. First choice to make on this fly is to how long you want your body to be. Classical wet flies usually don't have so long of body, so what I'll do is I'll stop this about where a barb is on a hook with barb, and then here comes the not so funny part of just covering up this. And here, if you would like to, you could use 6/0 to do this. I just like my 8/0 for all kinds of tying, so this is what I'm going for, but feel free to use a thicker thread. And here what we're trying to achieve is to have a slight taper on the fly. So one trick is to go back, stop a few millimeters before the end, and then back up again. And you do this with touching turns, and this way you make sure to have a uniform and nice and smooth body or underbody for this fly. I think I'll do this one last time just to get this teardrop shape, and then once you're happy with the taper, you can leave the thread just hanging at the front. From now on we're going to do the tying with the wire, which is a little bit unusual. So what I'm going to do is to grab my trout mix. This is a really great mix, and I use it usually when I want to imitate a small brown trout, but it works just fine for this one as well. So what I'll do is I start as you would just for any dubbing. I'm going to dub on the wire instead of the thread, and this is quite easy. The wire grabs onto the material like if it would be a waxed thread, so it's really easy to do, and will give a nice result. You'll see in just a little bit. And here the key is to keep this fairly thin as you would for any dubbing brush. So now I'm just going to wind this on, and here what I want to have is slightly open turns, so not touching turns, but just so you see this fire orange shining through. This way it will give a nice appearance to the fly and also give it a little bit more of a punch, or just a little bit this extra touch. Continue doing the slightly open spiral with your wire. Once you reach the thread, if you have a little bit of dubbing over, you could either just pull it off now, or what I do is just to come in, put a 90-degree bend into the wire, and you just tie off everything at the same time, and then we can helicopter the wire off. What you're left with is just this little bundle of dubbing, and pull this back a few turns in front, and there we have the body done. So that's the first part of the fly. The second one is as easy. So now I'm going to grab my Metz soft tackle. This one is in the color black. So now I selected one nice feather that's about the right size for this fly. This is not too difficult. I'm going to tie this in by the tip, and to make this a little easier I'm going to grab my hackle pliers and going to grab the tip, and here you want to pull as many of these fibers down as possible, and this will leave this little triangle exposed. Some people like to cut these off, so you have a small nice little tying point. What I like to do is to tie it in and then push the fibers back, and this can be a little tricky if they're too small, but here it worked fine. So now it's folded over and it's really secure. Then come in with your fine pointed scissors and I'm going to cut off as much as possible, and then I'm going to fold the fibers so that they are on the same side. This will really help with the tying. Stroking all the fibers back as I go. I'm going to do just one turn in front of the previous one, and here you don't need much, so 2 turns is enough. Tie it off, and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did for the tying in of the material. So when we're tying this off, I'm also going to fold everything back once again, build up a neat little head. In addition to the bright orange in the body, it's going to make for a little hotspot that the fish can target once it strikes the fly. Just do whip finish, pull tight, cut off the thread, and here if you're feeling brave you can just break the feather off. So now we have this little soft hackle collar on the fly, and that's the tying done. It's a really simple fly, so the last thing to do is just to secure the head a little bit more, and I'm going to come in with just a tiny drop of varnish, and this will coat the thread wraps and make sure the orange stays really vibrant, and also that the thread wraps stay together. So there we have the Molten Core, my take on a classic wet fly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time, and happy tying!